Hi, my name is Terry Doherty. I am the designer of the new Glorion Empire series of tactical Napoleonic board games. The first entry in the series is First Victories, which covers the combat of Rolasa and the Battle of Vimiero. The series is being published by Lock and Load Publishing. They publish Lock and Load Tactical, Nations at War, and World at War 85. This will be their first foray into the Napoleonic period. First, a bit about myself. I've been studying the Napoleonic period in depth for over 30 years now, with an emphasis in the tactics of the period. I've delved into the regulations and detailed manuals of the period to come up with the ideas for this game. I spent a number of years working on the Battalion Game system and created the Regs 30 and the Marie-Louise rules. I am also the designer of La Bataille de la Moscoa. So why go to the trouble of creating a new game system? The main reason was to create a fast-playing game system that was also historically accurate. My motto is playability with fidelity to history. The overriding goal has been to simplify and only have complexity where it's really needed to accurately model the tactics. The maps, the counters, and the charts have all been designed with playability in mind. The KISS principle is relentlessly applied. The result is an accurate yet faster playing game when compared to other game systems. First, some basics about the system. The system is battalion scale. Each hex is 125 meters from side to side. The maps use GIS data as the basis for the elevation and terrain locations. This results in very accurate maps, allowing the system to have a very accurate LOS model. Each strength point represents 100 infantry, 50 cavalry, and 1 to 2 guns. The reason for these numbers is they all have about the same frontage when deployed for battle. Infantry counters represent companies, half battalions, and battalions. Cavalry counters represent squadrons, battalion wings, or regiments. Artillery counters represent gun sections, half batteries, or batteries. Leader counters represent individual leaders, army, corps, division, brigade, and aides de camp. Rules are the heart of any game system. One thing I learned from working on La Bataille is gamers all have different reasons for playing games and differing desires for detail. As a result of that experience, I have created 3 sets of rules for this system. This allows players to choose the level of detail they are comfortable with. Each rule set builds on the lower rule set to avoid relearning rules. As an introductory or starter set of rules, we have the Soldier's Game. Players trying Napoleonic games for the first time should start with this set. The intermediate level rules is the Battalion Game. It is a full-fledged battalion level simulation. People with experience with other game systems might want to begin here. The advanced rules are called the Brigade Game. It introduces more detailed command and control, artillery, and other features. It is unlike anything out there. So what makes Glorion Empire different from other systems? Napoleon said morale is to the physical as 3 to 1. Morale is key to everything in Glorion Empire. It represents training, elan, and situational factors. Its interaction with formations, movement, combat, and rally is unique to Glorion Empire. The system has some unique features for skirmishers. There are 2 types of skirmishers represented in the system. There are skirmishers acting in concert with a parent battalion, and units that are mostly deployed or entirely deployed as skirmishers. This impacts command and control and their ability to maneuver and their combat abilities. Movement and training go hand in hand during the horse and musket period. It took significant amounts of training to maneuver in the packed close order formations of the period. Crossing difficult terrain, such as a wood, stream, hedge, or even just marching too fast, might disorder the formations. This could leave them vulnerable to enemy action or leave them unprepared to attack. This system will show why having difficult terrain to a unit's front was good for defense, and why having it to a unit's rear can lead to a disaster. Fire combat and close combat have been deliberately simplified for the game system. Fire strengths are on the counters and losses are all in steps. Flip the counter over after a loss. Cold steel combat with swords and bayonets is also simple. Add up combat value modifiers for each side, roll a die for each side, and add the modifiers. The high die roll wins. Artillery has narrow cones of fire to reflect that units are mostly concerned with what is directly to their front, as well as the physical constraints of a battery shifting towards a flank to fire. On the topic of artillery and ballistics were calculated for every gun tube that basic data was available for: caliber, length of bore, and weight of shot. Point-blank range is 0-degree elevation, where the ball first strikes the ground. Effective range is calculated as 1-degree elevation, and long range is calculated as 2 degrees elevation. The main focus of the Brigade Game is to offer a command and control system for combat units that reflects how they actually were controlled during the chaos and noise of a battle. This is unique to Glorion Empire. No other system has a command and control system like this. Units maneuver in lines of battle or grand columns and perform prescribed evolutions to switch between the two or change direction. This can really help to show how grand tactical formations influenced why particular events occurred during the battles of the period. The Brigade Game also offers a host of advanced artillery rules, including rolling shot, howitzer fire, grand battery bombardment zones, multiple types of artillery ammunition, and resupply. In addition, it has fatigue, limited intelligence, and more types of columns and squares. Now we'll cover some of the history of these two battles that occur in Portugal. France invaded Portugal at the end of 1807 to help complete Napoleon's continental system, which was a type of economic warfare aimed at Great Britain. Napoleon invaded Spain shortly thereafter. Following an uprising in Spain and Portugal in the summer of 1808, British troops nominally under Arthur Wellesley landed at Mondego Bay in Portugal. After a few days of getting organized, the British headed south and encountered a French reconnaissance force under General Delaborde at Rolliça. Delaborde would show Wellesley some tricks here that Wellesley would later use in his own battles, including concealing troops by using reverse slope positions, shocking advancing enemy troops by lying prone and rising at the last moment to deliver a close-range volley. However, Wellesley's force was much larger than Delaborde's, and he was forced to withdraw. Meanwhile, Junot was assembling his forces and advanced from Lisbon. 4 days after Rolliça, Junot found Wellesley at the small village of Vimiero, where he was positioned to cover the landing of additional British troops. Junot surveyed the position and launched a flanking attack and a frontal attack at the same time. However, Junot executed his plan quite poorly, resulting in a series of piecemeal attacks that furthered away his strength without seriously threatening the British position. For these games, there are a number of scenarios and some what-ifs that players can try to attempt to alter history. We also offer a solo assistant module to aid in solitaire play to avoid having the player make all the decisions for the opposing side.